What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Fearless Nick YouTube channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over my round 22 2022 AFL tips / predictions. And obviously, as well as that, like we always do on the channel, we're going to be going back over my round 21 tips from last week and seeing how I went. If you guys go on to enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for 300 subscribers. It's been a couple years in the making, I know, but we finally got there. And, but yeah, every subscriber means the world to me. So if you could please hit that big red button down below and join the army, help the channel grow even bigger. Yeah, that would be much appreciated. Anyways, without any further ado, yeah, let's get stuck. Alright, so before we get into this week's tips, like we always do, we're going to be going back over my round 21 tips from last week. I got a 7 out of 9 for last week. I've finally gotten back to some decent form. 7 out of 9, I'll definitely take that. Did pretty well. We'll quickly go over the games from last week. First game of the round was obviously the massive game between Melbourne and Collingwood, where Collingwood won another thriller. That is now 11 wins in a row for the Pies. They're absolutely flying at the moment. I think the D's were a little bit unlucky not to get the result done, considering they were destroying Collingwood in that first half in terms of stat wise. But Collingwood good enough to get the job done, and you know that heart and soul they play with every week. Collingwood is just unbelievable. Next game at UTAS down in Tasmania, we had the Hawks and the Suns, where the Hawks got up as well by 7 points. Over the Suns. It was always going to be a tough game for the Suns because the Hawks are a very different side down in Tasmania. They have a very good record there. They're the Hawks. Yeah, good win there for Hawthorn, recovering strongly after their disappointing loss last week to the Saints. And the Suns, that pretty much rules them out of finals contention, I believe. Next game at Giants Stadium, we had the Giants and the Bombers. And the Giants got up in a bit of an upset there. I didn't think they really were going to show a lot of fight, but you know, they had to respond and they did. Fair play. The Bombers didn't really look up for it. The Giants looked pretty good from the get-go, I have to say. Their pressure was really good. And yeah, the Bombers just crumbled under all that pressure, really. And the Giants got the job done for the first time in a few weeks. So good on the Giants, but yeah, unfortunately got that tip wrong as well. Next game at Marvel Stadium, we had the Dogs and the Dockers. I tipped Freo in this game and it came off beautifully. It couldn't have gone any better, really, for the Dockers. The Dogs put up a fight like you'd expect, but Freo good enough to respond and really just show why they're still a chance for top 4 this year. Yeah, really happy with that tip there. Next game at GMHBA Stadium, pretty easy one this one. Geelong and St Kilda. Yeah, no problems there. Geelong just clearly the better side again. I think the Saints were pretty good in that, I believe it was that second quarter. Geelong, they can turn it on when they need to. They can play well when they choose. But yeah, Geelong, they just go to another level when they get it on their terms, and yeah, recorded a pretty nice victory there by 45 points over the Saints. Next game at the Adelaide Oval, we've got Port Adelaide and Richmond, and yeah, obviously Richmond were able to get the job done, which was good for our finals hopes, because we really needed a win like that, I feel like. And I feel like Port Adelaide were a little bit unlucky. They got us on a good day. Look, Port Adelaide, I don't think they were bad. I think it was just Richmond really showed up and knew what was on the line. And yeah, got another tip correct there. Next game at Marvel Stadium, don't really need to discuss this one. Sydney and North Melbourne. I'll give a little bit of a shout out to North Melbourne. They put up a little bit of a fight. I think Larky kicked like 4 or 5 goals or something, which kept them in it. But apart from that, Sydney were just way too strong. Buddy Franklin went berserk. Next game at the Gabba between the Lions and the Blues. It was a very interesting game, this one. Brisbane looked very good from the get-go, I can tell you what. Carlton were goalless in that first quarter, and it basically got worse from there, if I'm going to be honest. The Blues had a pretty decent last quarter. There's still question marks over the Lions' defence, but apart from that, the Lions were too good for the Blues. And the final game at Optus Stadium between West Coast and Adelaide. Now, I wasn't sure on this game coming into it. I thought, you know, West Coast were going to put up a fight, and it was Kennedy's last game, so why wouldn't they? And to be fair, they did, but unfortunately for them and Josh Kennedy's sake, the Crows were too good and won by 16 points. And yeah, that really capped off a brilliant round of tipping for myself. But yeah, 7 out of 9, not too bad. And yeah, that'll do it for last week's tips. Now let's move on. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, round number 22. I can't believe we're already at round 22. This season has absolutely flown by so quickly. We're already at the second last round of the year. It's absolutely crazy. So the first game on the Friday night between the Saints and the Lions. This is a huge game in my opinion, because Brisbane, well, they're playing for finals chances. They're trying to keep their season alive. They need a good performance though in this game, and for me, I just don't see it. I could see the Saints lean towards the Lions, although here's my prediction. I don't think it'll be a smashing. I think the Lions will win, but you know what? I'm going to say only 17 points. I think, yeah, the Lions should win this game, but I think the Saints won't go down without a fight, is what my prediction is. But my final prediction will be the Lions win by 17 points. Next game on the Saturday afternoon at 1:45 p.m. at Marvel Stadium. We got the Dogs up against the GWS Giants. The rivalry for the second time this year. Obviously, last time these two played earlier off in the year, I think it was like round 12 or something like that. The Dogs got the job done by 20 points over at Giants Stadium. And to be honest, I think the Dogs were in worse form then than they are now. So you'd expect the Dogs to win this one. The Giants got a good... You know what? I'm going to be tipping... I think I'm going to tip the Dogs in this one. I just can't see them losing 2 games in a row at Marvel. It rarely happens. They play really good footy at Marvel, the Dogs. And I'd be very shocked if they drop 2 games in a row at Marvel. So I'm going to tip the Dogs in this one, and I'm going to tip them by 25 points. Adelaide Oval between the Crows and the Roos. Look, if North are going to get a win at any point, if North are going to get another win this season, this is probably one of their best opportunities, because as we can see, Adelaide aren't that much higher than North. They're a couple of spots, but they're not that much higher. But saying that, Adelaide have just won 2 games in a row against Carlton and West Coast. And yeah, they're finding some form towards the back end of the year, and they're trying to give themselves a bit of momentum going into next year. So because of that, I think considering the form and considering it's at Adelaide Oval, the Crows are just a different team at Adelaide Oval. I think a lot of people can agree there. I'm going to be tipping the Crows in this one. I can't see them losing to North. This is probably one of North's best opportunities to get one final victory for their season, but for me, I just don't see it. I reckon the Crows win this one. I'm going to say 22 points, I think, the Crows. At Metricon Stadium, we've got the Suns up against Geelong. Now, Gold Coast are pretty much out of finals contention. I think they really needed to pinch that win last week against Hawthorn. They couldn't do that. So I think for me, I think they're gone for finals. I don't think they're going to be making finals this year, but wow, they are that much better already, Gold Coast. And I think, yeah, they've got a chance in this game, but against this is Geelong we're talking about. Let's not forget, who just came off a pretty good win against St Kilda. They're pretty much destroying anyone who's in their way at the moment. Geelong, I don't see anyone stopping them. Yes, got to go Geelong here. I don't think you can go past them. They're playing really exciting footy, Geelong. Their forward line is probably the best in the comp. And yeah, they're just unstoppable, especially in the third quarters. They seem to just get a hold of their opposition and really just take the game by the scruff of the neck and really just suffocate the opposition defensively as well. So for me, Geelong too strong here. I think the Suns won't be a blowout, but I'm going to say it's a bit of a convincing win. Geelong to win here by 28 points. Next game in the MCG, we've got Melbourne up against Carlton. Now, I think it's safe to say all eyes are on Carlton at the moment. I think due to the fact Paddy Cripps won't play for the rest of the home and away season. He will play for finals if they get there. Yeah, the next couple of games, it doesn't get any easier for the Blues, because after this, their final game of the year is against Collingwood. So it doesn't get any easier, unfortunately, if you're a Blues fan. And I think, although I don't think this will be as easy for the D's as some people may think. I think the Blues will show some fight. I think they've got to sort of respond after last week, when they almost got pretty much embarrassed for 3 quarters against Brisbane and only showed up in the last quarter. So I think Carlton could cause a few problems, but I think the loss of Paddy Cripps will be too detrimental to the Blues, and I think the D's should be winning this game. But here's my prediction though. I don't think this will be a blowout either. I'm going to say the D's get the job done though over the Blues, and I'm going to say only by 16 points though. I think it will be kind of close. I think going up to stadium, we've got the Western Derby between Freo and West Coast. Now, I reckon West Coast would have been a sniff in this game if Josh Kennedy hadn't retired. So I think because of that, I think you got to go the Dockers in this one. They've been so much better this year. They've just come off a really good win over the Dogs at Marvel, which we've seen a couple times this year. It's not the easiest thing to do, beating the Dogs at Marvel. A lot of teams have struggled there. So, credit to the Dockers for that win, and cheers for getting my tip. They're a bit of a reliable team, the Dockers. They don't normally let me down in my tips. So because of that, I'm going to tip the Dockers again in this one. I think they should be fine in this one against West Coast. I'm going to tip Freo by 38 points. And I think they will be too strong for their game at the MCG. We've got the Tigers up against the Hawks. Now, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm a little bit nervous for this game. Hawthorn, they're almost like the party spoilers, or they seem to have a habit of spoiling seasons for teams, the Hawks. So I'm kind of nervous. We could drop this game maybe, but I think that performance, I was really, really happy with our performance against Port Adelaide over there. I don't think we could have played any better, honestly. So because of that, I am going to tip Richmond in this one. I feel like we will be too strong for the Hawks. I don't write the Hawks off though. They're sort of the team that can cause an upset. So I'd respect you if you were tipping Hawthorn, but I'm going to tip Richmond in this one. I think we will get the job done here. I'm going to say 20 points exactly, I reckon, will be the final margin in that one. Next game at the SCG, we've got Sydney up against Collingwood. Now, I think this is the match everyone's watched the video for. I think who gets up in this one. Now, both teams are in remarkable form at the moment. Collingwood have won 11 in a row, and I think like 7 of them have been like under 2 kicks, which is crazy. Like, that has to be a new record, surely. Whereas Sydney, they haven't lost in a very long time. I think the last time the Swans lost, correct me if I'm wrong, might have been the Essendon game maybe. I don't know, but it was a very, very long time ago. The Swans, I don't remember the last time they lost. So as you can see here, Sydney are actually the favourites, which I don't know how, but I think a lot of people want to see Collingwood lose, and I'll be honest, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever if they did lose this week. However, can you really tip against Collingwood the way they've been playing? Like, I mean, I don't know. Comment down below who you're going for in the comments. I'm gonna tip Sydney, but I don't know. I feel like Collingwood could really win that game. I don't know how it's 69-31. It probably should be 50-50. These two teams battling it out for the top 4, really. Sydney got to win this to contend for top 4, whereas Collingwood have got a second spot to lock up. So I think this will be a really close game. I'm going to tip the Swans by 11 points. I think this will be close, but I feel like Collingwood will finally get a loss for the first time in 11 weeks. I don't feel safe now saying it. I don't feel safe about that. I'm going to tip Sydney, but I am aware Collingwood can win these sort of games. So I'm going to tip Sydney. Marvel Stadium, we've got the Bombers and Port Adelaide. Have I actually gone for an upset this round? I haven't. It's actually, wow. All right. I haven't actually got, well, depends. Do you call Sydney an upset? Maybe, maybe not. Who to tip here, if I'm going to be honest. Essendon, Port Adelaide. The last time these two played, Port Adelaide got up pretty comfortably, but that was earlier in the year when the Bombers were doing shocking. Wow. This is close. It's at Marvel Stadium. The Bombers just had a loss. Port Adelaide just had a loss. I think I'm going to be tipping Essendon in this one. I don't know. I think it's just because of Essendon's form. Barring their last game, they've actually been alright. So I think I'm going to tip the Bombers in this one to win by 26, I think will be the final margin. And yeah, the Bombers will get a nice victory over Port Adelaide there. So those are my round 22 tips. We'll go back over them. I tipped the Lions by 17. The Dogs by, what did I say? I think I said 25. Adelaide by, 22 over North. Geelong by 28 over Gold Coast. Melbourne by 16 over the Blues. Freo over West Coast in the Derby. Richmond over Hawthorn. Sydney over Collingwood. That's a big call. And Essendon over Port Adelaide. So those are my round 22 tips. I've got to save these, don't I? But before we go, as always, we're going to check the comp. Like I always say, if you want to join the tipping comp, it will be in the link in the description. And yeah, this is the ladder after round 21. And as you can see there, we've got a tied first place. That is unreal. Going into the second last round with 2 rounds remaining. Remember, the winner will get a shout out at the end of the year. So and yeah, in first we've got Max T. He's got 125 correct tips. He got a 5 last week. Sately 12 got a 6. He's also on 125. Those two battling it out for top at the moment. Magpie Army 2016 is on 121 correct tips. He got a 6 as well. As we can see, oh yeah, we've got a couple of 6s here. A lot of 5s. Wow, look at that. We've got Carn the Catters, Eating Sunscreen and Carn the Catters in 4th and 5th respectively. Both tied on 119 correct tips. Sam H got 3 this week and Jake L got 6. As you saw my score, I'm on 118 correct tips. Same with Angus at the moment. He's also on 118. We both got a 7. Shannon got a 5. He's on 111 correct tips, sitting 8th. We've got Lincoln in 9th, who got a 5. He's on 109 correct tips. Victor B, who got 5. He's on 107 correct tips. Louis, who got 5 as well. He's on 106 correct tips. And then you can see there's a big gap there between Louis and Dylan. And then you've got Chunky Monkey Felix, who's on 67 correct tips. D's Nut, who's on 67 as well. Warwick J, who's on 67 as well. And Adam the Goat, who is down the bottom of the ladder. So shout out to him for being on the bottom. But anyways, that is my ladder after round 22. Shout out to all these legends, as always, for joining the comp. If you want to join, it will be in the link in the description. And yeah, those are my round 22 tips, and that is my comp. So there we go, guys. Those were my round 22 tips for this upcoming round. Comment down below your tips, as always. Comment down below how many tips you got last round, and also comment below how your team went on the weekend. Yes, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Also, remember to join my tipping comp. It will be in the link in the description, as always, and in the pinned comment. Yeah, thank you so much for 300 subscribers. I know I've already said it already, but yeah, it really, really means a lot. And I've got a bit of a question to ask. Would you want to see a 300 sub special? So if you want to see a 300 sub special, comment hashtag yes or hashtag no. I'm happy with any answer. So you decide whether you want a 300 sub special. I've got a video planned if the answer is yes. So yeah, stay tuned for that. If you want to see a 300 sub special, let me know. Hashtag yes or hashtag no. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!